Every trip starts with a dream, whether it's scenic mountains covered with lush greenery or mysterious rock formations that seem out of place surrounded by plain terrain. You long to see these destinations in person until the desire is so big that it unsettles you and keeps nagging until it's fulfilled. Mount Rushmore in South Dakota had a somewhat similar effect on Roshan. He'd been dreaming of heading to the Midwest of the USA for years. A few months ago, Roshan stopped fantasizing. He planned the whole trip instead. Our Midwest travel adventure turned into a 4-day road trip across Colorado, not in the Midwest, Nebraska, and South Dakota. We saw some of the biggest landmarks of the two latter states while dealing with notoriously fickle weather of the American heartland. The first day of our road trip was almost a classic case of a well-planned travel journey that went wrong. Our flight from LA to Denver was delayed. By the time we got to the capital of Colorado, picked up our rental car, and bought some groceries for the next 3 days, it was well past 3 p.m. Roshan booked our Airbnb for the night in Harrison, Nebraska, located roughly 4 hours away. Long drive.
There's so many.
It would be that unadventurous road trip if it was not for the quite unpredictable and simultaneously remarkable summer weather in the Midwest. Storm with dramatic lightning caught us somewhere on the border between Colorado and Nebraska. Announcing even heavier downpour, the sky was getting darker and darker by minutes. As if trying to be of help, the wind slowly blew the rain clouds southwest while we were heading north. When it looked like we might have just escaped another round of the rainpour, a piercing cell phone alarm reported another problem. Tornado was spotted in our area. In the end, Nebraska spared us from this unannounced tornado. Moreover, it showed its nice side and apologized for the seasonal weather roughness with the most spectacular sunset we've ever seen. We had a lot of sightseeing planned for our first day in South Dakota. Luckily, all these destinations were located within 1 hour drive or less from each other. Ranked as one of top 10 safari parks in the country, Custer State Park is one of the best places to spend a day if South Dakota wildlife is your primary focus. Bison, elk, deer, prairie dogs, mountain goats, and coyotes roam freely across large prairies and dense forests. The most beloved animals here, however, are burros. Once used for tracks to Black Elk Peak, the donkeys were released into the wild after the tours ended. Yet carrying in their genes some memory of the domesticated phase, the feral animals still occasionally turn to people for some treats such as carrots and apples. On the other side of South Dakota's first state park, granite mountains take over the role of the welcoming hosts. Unveiling their natural wonders and spectacular views from a number of scenic drives and panoramic hiking trails, the peaks embody the spirit of the state, strong, rough, and unyielding. The Black Hills have been a sacred place for Native Americans for many generations. So, when the Lakota elders decided to immortalize the legacy of their people in the stone, naturally they chose the untamed mountains of South Dakota for this project. The elders also knew who they wanted to be the subject of this grand mountain sculpture: Lakota leader Crazy Horse. Born around 1840, Crazy Horse fought to preserve Native American territory and the traditional way of life of the Lakota people. But while the sculpture depicts the face of one leader, it stands as the great symbol of the spirit of all American natives. Another colossal mountain structure is located about 17 miles away. The massive sculpture that depicts heads of 4 American presidents and is carved into Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills of South Dakota was completed in 1941. Over the 14-year period, nearly 400 people worked on the mountain to memorialize such historic figures as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Each face is 60 feet high. The choice of the presidents could be different, but apparently sculptor Borglum agreed with our 6-year-old historian that these were the most important president in the history of the USA. Our second day in South Dakota was less packed. We had only one place on our itinerary before we had to head back to Nebraska. Badlands National Park is famous for its dramatic layered rock formations, towering spires, and steep canyons. At first glance, it reminds you of Grand Canyon National Park. The resemblance is striking. But with all due respect, Badlands National Park is not as deep as the world-famous Abyss. At the same time, subtle layers of different colors, ranging from yellow, beige, and red, positioned at the same level across congregated pointed pillars, as if somebody used a ruler to ensure that every line is precise, emphasize the uniqueness of Badlands National Park, a place unmatched by any other Midwest landmarks. The best way to explore the park is by driving along Badlands Loop Trail, watching the peculiar rock formations melt into sprawling grasslands. The scenic byway is 39 miles long and is dotted with a profusion of overlooks that peer down into the canyons. Different shapes and shades of the rock formations open up from every vantage point. Some pillars are yellow, almost white, others are festive, adorned with pink and beige stripes. This gamut of pastel colors is like a magnet that propels your eyes to follow the pattern all the way to the bottom of the chasms. With all this natural splendor, it's easy to overlook endless grass fields on the opposite side. This is where deer, pronghorn, elk, foxes, prairie dogs, and even bison can be spotted grazing along the road. We ended the third day of our road trip across Nebraska and South Dakota back in the Cornhusker State. I had an unsettling feeling as we were approaching Nebraska. The tornado warning we had received on the first day left an imprint on my mind. Would it be there another one? It sounded almost ridiculous until my phone confirmed the opposite. As if defending its fame as one of the most tornado-rich states in the USA, Nebraska kept us on the feet with a new twister in the area. This time at least we were in a city where we had more chances to find proper shelter. Our last day of the South Dakota, Nebraska road trip started with a pleasant sunrise. Clear sky, beautiful weather, lush greenery invigorated by summer rains, and another long drive. About 1 hour after we had left Alliance, we finally arrived at Scotts Bluff National Monument. Scotts Bluff Monument has been a strategic point for many Native Americans and other pioneers traveling to the west. For thousands of years, the 800-foot-high bluff of sandstone and volcanic ash served as a reliable guide for people traversing the Oregon Trail, California Trail, and Pony Express Trail. Today, the monument is famous for its towering pillars, a less than 2-mile drive to the summit of Scotts Bluff, and awe-inspiring views of expansive valleys at the bottom of the promontory. We ended our Midwest road trip across Colorado, Nebraska, and South Dakota exactly where we started it, at the Denver International Airport. It was another 2 or so hours until we got back to California with grateful and full hearts.